So I was staring at this image this morning on my laptop. You know the one, the Rubin vase? It's that black and white drawing.
Classic.
Right. If you look at the black part, it's a vase, but if you look at the white space, it's two faces looking at each other.
A staple of every first-year psychology textbook.
Yeah, exactly, and I usually just scroll past it. But for some reason today I stopped and I tried to do something. I tried to see both at the same time. The vase and the faces.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It's actually impossible. It just creates this flicker.
Faces.
Vase.
Faces. My brain it refused to hold both realities at once. It felt, I don't know, like a hardware limitation.
It does feel like a limitation, but what you were experiencing there, that's actually the fundamental architecture of your awareness.
Huh.
We tend to think of that image as, a fun little parlor trick, an optical illusion. But if we really dig into the Gestalt psychology behind it, that flicker you felt, it explains almost everything about how you navigate the world.
Okay, that's a heavy claim.
Oof.
We're going from a simple drawing to everything. I know, it sounds grand, but just think about what that image proves. It proves you don't just passively receive reality. We think our eyes are like cameras, right? It's just letting all the data in.
Yeah.
But they're not. You are actively constructing a scene. You're making a choice. It's subconscious, it's instant about what is thing and what is nothing.
So my reality is sort of a construction project that I'm not even aware I'm managing.
In a sense, yes. And the real danger here, or I guess the topic for our deep dive today, is that feeling of certainty. When you see the vase, you are 100% sure it's a vase.
Of course.
That certainty is a veil. It's what hides the faces. So our mission today is to look at this architecture of awareness and try to figure out what we're all missing, simply because we're so sure of what we see.
Okay, I'm willing to play ball. If my brain is building a world without showing me the blueprints, I'd like to know how it works.
Well, the blueprint relies on two key concepts: figure and ground.
I've heard those terms before, but more like in art class?
It's the same principle, but we're applying it to consciousness. The figure is whatever holds your attention. So in the image, that's the vase. It has a shape, it has meaning, it pops out at you.
And the ground is everything else, the background.
Exactly. It recedes.
It becomes wallpaper.
It becomes less than wallpaper. It, for all intents and purposes, becomes invisible. And this is the part that people really miss. Your mind doesn't just prioritize the figure. It effectively erases the ground.
Erases seems like a strong word. I mean, the white space is still there. I can still see it. I'm just not focusing on it.
Are you sure? Think about the famous invisible gorilla experiment. I'm sure most people listening have at least heard of it.
Oh, yeah. The basketball video. You have two teams, one in white shirts, one in black, and you have to count the passes the white team makes.
Right. It's a task that requires intense focus. You are actively building a figure. The white shirts, the ball, you're locked onto that data stream.
And then halfway through, some person in a gorilla suit just strolls into the middle of the game, beats their chest, and walks off. And the punchline is that, half the people watching never even see the gorilla?
Exactly. We all know the punchline, but let's look at the mechanism. When you tell people they missed a gorilla, they don't just say, "Oh, I guess I wasn't paying attention." They often argue with you. They say, "No, it wasn't there."
Because for them, it really wasn't.
It wasn't. The gorilla was in the ground. And because their brain had decided that white shirts and counting were the keys to success, the gorilla was stripped of all meaning. It wasn't just ignored. It was, basically deleted from their reality.
But isn't that a massive design flaw? Biologically, I mean. If I'm out in the wild counting berries and a lion walks up, I'd really hope my brain wouldn't just delete the lion because I'm focused on the berries.
That's the logical critique. But let's flip it around. Imagine you didn't have that filter. Imagine walking down a busy street and perceiving everything with equal intensity. Every crack in the pavement, every reflection in a window, the feeling of your socks, the hum of the traffic.
You'd be totally overwhelmed, instantly.
You'd be catatonic. You couldn't take a single step.
Yeah.
So we need this ability. We have to simplify the infinite chaos of reality into manageable objects, into figures, just to survive. The problem isn't that we do it. The problem is we forget we're doing it.
We mistake the edited movie for the raw footage.
Precisely. And that brings us to another concept from Gestalt theory called pregnance.
Pregnance sounds German.
It is. It roughly means pithiness or good form. It's this law that says the human mind craves the simplest, most stable, most complete shape possible. We hate ambiguity.
We need things to make sense.
We need things to be closed. If I show you a circle with a tiny gap in it, your brain will actually hallucinate a line to close that gap.
Yeah.
We are, you could say, allergic to open loops.
Okay, I get it with shapes and optical illusions, But you said at the start this explains my life, not just my eyesight. It still feels like a bit of a stretch to say that my brain auto-correcting a circle is the same as how I handle, say, my relationships.
But it's the exact same mechanism. And this is where it gets a little dangerous. Think about a conflict you've had, a recurring argument with a partner maybe, or a colleague.
Sure, let's say a colleague who keeps missing deadlines.
Okay, so in the heat of that moment, when you're looking at that missed deadline, what happens to your perception of that colleague?
Well, they stop being Sarah, who has a dog and is funny at lunch. They just become the slacker, or the person who's ruining my project.
They become a figure, a sharp, simple adversarial shape. Your nervous system basically declares an emergency and it demands simplicity.
Because that's easier to deal with.
It's the law of pregnance in action. To see Sarah as she truly is, maybe tired, maybe struggling with something at home, generally competent but failing right now and annoying you, that's complex. That requires you to see the vase and the faces at the same time.
And just like with the drawing, my brain can't do it.
Your mind prefers the lie of simplicity to the tension of truth. You create a caricature because you need closure. You need to solve the problem of Sarah, so you flatten her into a villain.
And everything else about her, the ground, just vanishes.
It fades away, and you react to the characters. You end up fighting the stick figure you drew, not the human being in front of you. That's why arguments feel so absolute. You always do this. You never listen. Those are the words of a mind that has completely lost access to the ground.
That's unnerving. It kind of implies that whenever I'm really angry, I'm probably hallucinating.
You are likely interacting with a simplified projection, yes.
Yeah.
And that kind of rigidity, that's what leads directly to the feeling of being stuck.
Which brings us to another term from the research, isomorphism.
Yes. Isomorphism. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but the idea is actually quite profound. It suggests that there is a structural match between your internal feelings and your perception of the world.
Okay, break that down for me.
It means that if you feel emotionally stuck in a dead-end job, say, or a relationship that isn't working, it's not just a vague mood. It's a structural reality in how you're organizing your perception. You're looking at an incomplete gestalt.
The research brought up the 9-dot puzzle here, which I know everyone has seen this puzzle. 9 dots, square shape, connect them with 4 straight lines.
It's a cliche for a reason, though. Let's forget the solution for a second and look at why people fail. Why can't they solve it?
Because they keep trying to draw the lines inside the square that the dots make. They try every combination, but there's always 1 dot left over.
And why do they stay inside the dots?
Because, well, it looks like a square. The dots make a box.
But did the instructions say stay inside the square?
No.
That's isomorphism. The square isn't on the paper. It's in the mind of the person solving the puzzle. They've projected a boundary, a rule that doesn't actually exist. They are trapped by their own perception.
And the solution requires you to draw the line way out into the white space, into the ground.
You have to go where you thought there was nothing. And that is the absolute key to insight. Breakthroughs don't come from just thinking harder inside the current figure. You can stare at the problem of your job forever. But if you stay inside those self-imposed boundaries, you'll never solve it.
The solution is in the part of the paper you decided to ignore.
Exactly. Transformation isn't about effort. It's about perceptual reconfiguration. It's realizing the walls you're hitting your head against are lines you drew yourself.
That sounds liberating, but also, I don't know, kind of annoying. It puts all the responsibility on me. If I'm stuck, it's my own fault for not seeing better.
It's not about fault. It's really about the mechanics of identity. I mean, think about the labels we put on ourselves. I'm not a creative person. I'm socially awkward.
Oh, I have definitely used the I'm not a math person line to get out of doing a budget.
But look at what you're doing, right? You're taking this infinitely complex history of your life, all the times you were logical, all the times you did figure something out, and you're just pushing all of that into the ground. You've selected bad at math as the figure.
But why would I do that if it limits me? Why pick a figure that makes me feel small?
Because the alternative is terrifying.
What, being good at math?
No. The alternative is being undefined.
Ah.
And this is where we get into the philosophy of it all, the void. To let go of a figure, even a painful one like I'm a failure, means you have to stand in that liminal space, that flicker between the vase and the faces.
That moment where you don't know what you're looking at.
And to the ego, that feels like a death threat. The ego would rather be something, even something negative, than be nothing at all. It would rather be a victim than a question mark.
So we cling to the prison because at least we know where the walls are.
Precisely. Plato's cave comes to mind. The prisoners are watching shadows, convinced it's reality. But they aren't held there by chains. They're held by the very structure of their own seeing. To turn around and look at the fire, that would mean the collapse of their entire world.
It's a scary thing to do.
It is. It feels like falling. Which is why, so often when people are on the verge of a real breakthrough, they feel this intense anxiety.
So anxiety isn't always a sign that something's going wrong.
From a Gestalt view, anxiety is often just excitement without support. It's the energy of a new figure trying to emerge, but you haven't given it form yet. You're still fighting to keep the old familiar figure in place.
Okay, so if we stop fighting, if we stop forcing these rigid outlines on everything, what does the world even look like? The source material got a little trippy here with the whole tree metaphor.
The noun versus the verb. This is one of my favorite shifts in perspective.
Walk us through it, because I look out the window and I see a tree, it's an object. Wood, leaves, it's a noun.
It appears to be a static object, because your time scale is so different from its time scale. But if you could speed up time, what would you see?
I'd see it just shooting up from the ground, spreading out, leaves popping and falling.
You'd see a process, an event, roots drinking, cells dividing, gas exchange. The reality isn't tree, the reality is treeing.
Treeing, so it's an event, not a thing.
Everything is an event. We freeze the world into nouns so we can name it and control it, but the world is all verbs. It's all just flow.
And the separation between things, that's part of the illusion too, isn't it?
Well, try to define for me where the tree ends and the not tree begins.
The edge is the bark, I guess.
Is it? The tree is made of sunlight. It's made of carbon from the air, water from the soil. If you remove the environment, the tree just vanishes. The tree is the environment concentrating itself in one spot.
So when I draw a line and say, this is tree and this is air, I'm doing the Reuben vase thing all over again. I'm creating a figure and ignoring the deeper connection.
You're creating a useful lie. And this gets to a beautiful concept from the philosopher Heidegger, the idea of aletheia.
Okay, you can't just draw up Heidegger without explaining.
Aletheia is a Greek word for truth, but it's not truth like a math equation. It's better translated as unconcealment.
Unconcealment.
The idea is that truth isn't some fact you can capture and possess. Truth is what reveals itself when you stop forcing your rigid structures onto the world. When you stop saying, that is a tree, and just witness the phenomenon, the treeing reveals itself to you.
It sounds like we're just talking about a different way of paying attention. Less grasping, more allowing.
Less grasping, more witnessing. The mind wants to label everything instantly. Friend, enemy, tree, car. We label to control. Aletheia is about suspending the label. To look at your partner not as my husband, but as this unfolding process that you get to witness.
That sounds great, but I'm thinking about the person listening to this on their commute. It's hard to exist in a state of unconcealment when you have to get the kids to school on time. How do we actually practice this?
You don't have to live in a meditative trance. It's much simpler. It just requires the pause. There's a very practical question you can ask yourself whenever you feel stuck or certain or angry.
Okay, hit me.
When you feel absolutely certain about a situation, when you're in that I know exactly what's going on here mode, just stop and ask yourself, what am I not allowing into the field?
What am I not allowing into the field?
Or you could ask, what am I not seeing because I'm so sure of what I am seeing?
It's like forcing yourself to look for the invisible gorilla in your own life.
Yes, deliberately check your blind spots. Just soften your focus for a moment. Maybe the problem with your kid isn't defiance, maybe it's just hunger, maybe the rudeness from the cashier isn't personal, it's just exhaustion. You're letting the ground seep back in.
It softens the edges of the box, makes the world feel a little less rigid.
And a little more alive. The goal isn't to find the right answer right away. It's to cultivate a quality of attention that can just tolerate the silence between answers. To stand in the not knowing and let reality show you what it is.
I like that. It takes the pressure off. I don't have to build the world, I just have to watch it.
But, and I have to leave you with this, because there was a wonderful little meta twist at the end of all this.
Uh-oh. I thought we were done.
We can't be. Because we have to acknowledge the trap we just spent this whole time building. Everything we've discussed, Gestalt, the field, figuring ground, even aletheia, these were just figures too.
Wait, don't tell me we just built a whole map that you're now gonna tear up.
I have to. Gestalt psychology is just another box we draw around reality to help us understand it. It's a very useful map. But the territory, your actual life, the moment of looking at a tree, that is, and always will be, unnameable.
So even the concept of the feel is just another way of connecting the 9 dots.
Exactly. Use the concepts to free your mind, but don't get trapped by them. Eventually, you have to drop the manual and just drive the car.
Use the ladder to get to the roof, then kick the ladder away.
A perfect analogy.
Well, I'm definitely going to look at the world a little differently today. I'm going to try and catch myself every time I think, I know that.
It's a hard habit to break, but it changes everything.
For everyone listening, try that question today. What am I not allowing into the field? See what happens when you let the background speak. Thanks for this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
Stay curious, everyone.